that. And we really want to have you just be able to be blessed by asking whatever questions it is that you have to ask. This is when you're married and you're working on this business thing together, it's so much more helpful if you can have the same outlook and mindset. And but there always is, right? There's always little challenges. There's always little things to work out. And who's going to help where? And so we want you to be thinking about some questions. And we're going to have a couple come up that's going to kind of lead the panel for us that you haven't seen. She's usually behind the scenes helping. But today, she's going to be up here at the front. So Mark and Maria Campbell, if you would come up here. Woo! They're going to call up the couples that have agreed to just kind of be here and answer questions. You don't have the names? Do you know the names of them? Oh, you do. Okay.
Panel people, come on! Come on down!
For those who are quieter, so that those can hear it and hear, it's probably a pass it back to the quiet people. Yeah. Say hi.
You gotta squeeze as close together as you can so that our friends you can share your school sections. Yeah. Almost. Okay. There we go.
We'll start there. Well, good evening, everyone. Yes, this is my first Ignite event, and I'm very excited to be here. I've never met a microphone or a platform or a stage that didn't just beg me to jump on it and share my personality with you. So, you know, if I talk too much, you guys are going to have to tell me to put the microphone down. So,
Trevor might want to turn.
I'm not sure how well this is going to work, if we're going to pass this
We're
around.
going to talk loud.
I would almost just assume prefer to talk loud myself.
Okay. Should be loud.
So,
As long as they can. Tanya,
you guys hear us?
Tanya, you give us a
hear us
thumbs
talk
up.
loud?
Tanya, you're the only face we can see, so we're counting on you to tell us if you can't hear, let us know. Okay.
all right, so I told my kids this is how we're going to start tonight.
This was at 7:30 this morning.
Yeah.
That's later.
Sonia Swan, her dynamic distribution team, the Windsor Heights Community Center welcomes you to Ignite. So let's get ready to all y'all. Literally, products have changed our lives. We are excited to be a part of this panel tonight because if we consider ourselves a very strong couple, we've been married for 19 years.
Numbers don't even matter.
These last 2 years have just flown by. I lost track at 17. And as you find out, we've actually been, I think, actively, we, as in Maria and me, the silent partner, actively doing the business side for about 2 years. Yeah, I lost track of time. But, you know, like I said, we consider ourselves a very strong couple, but as we transitioned into this, our lifestyle went through some dramatic changes, both in how we managed our time and the responsibilities in and around the house. And in the end, we've pulled through it. And I think we're even a better couple today, 2 years later, you know, because of the process, the growth, not only the business, but us as individuals and as a couple. And I think maybe we'll find out from the rest of the group here that the positive impact, but also the challenges that are real. And so I think we're just going to try to be open and honest. We've got some questions that we've all been kind of pondering and discussed. But if we miss something as the night goes on, feel free to throw your hand up or holler out and catch our attention, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. So let's go ahead and begin with introductions. My name's Mark, my wife Maria. No offense to the most beautiful lady up here.
Good answer.
married 19 years. We have 2 beautiful children, Toby and Lily, who've been running around here. I think they're back hiding and reading books. But this has been a family adventure for us. So you want to give the rest of the information?
We have been with Young Living. Actually, I started with Heather in 2012, and I flat out refused I was going to have anything to do with the business, like a lot of us did. Heather and I went round and round about this until finally this little business started to grow kind of accidentally, like a lot of us that happened. And in 2014, around April, one of my downline members said, "Hey, there's like a big income potential here. I want to know about this." And I'm like, "That's your girl, call Heather." And so that slowly drug me in, pulled me in to the business side. And I thought, well, you know, if this little check that I'm getting is pretty nice, accidentally, I wonder what would happen if I did something on purpose with this. And so that was kind of the point that changed for us when I said, he wasn't quite there yet, I said, I'm going to give this some time and attention and see what happens. So it's been a couple of years and it's been awesome. And we're at Summer, so.
And we live in Des
I
Moines.
live in Des Moines, sorry.
And my other job is I'm a jeweler/business owner on the east side. We've got a little shop, so that'll be part of our story as we go along. So next couple, let's just do name, city, rank, years in Young Living. If there's another occupation.
Start here.
Right there.
So I'm Teeny Shelburne, and my husband Trevor, I think this might be, but my mom, I left my mom's eyes at home, eyes in the back of my head with the kids. I joined Young Living in January of 2013, and I knew very early on we were starting a second business during that time. So our budget was kind of restricted, so I knew that I would probably, in order to be able to afford the oils for the family that I wanted, I was going to need to help have people join me to be able to do that. So we did a lot of workshops and kind of grew organically that way. And I think January of 13, so a little over 3 years later, we're silver. So, yay! So our secondary business, we own a brewery. So we make beer for a living. Love the Vitality line here. So.
I mean, you really covered it pretty well. We're from Rhinebeck. I don't know if you mentioned
Oh yeah,
that.
like that.
So,
Little town.
yep.
And tell them whose team you're on.
We're on Bobby's team. I went to, Bobby and I have known each other since kindergarten. Trevor joined our class when Gladworth and Rhinebeck joined in 7th grade, 8th grade. It was 7th grade.
Sure.
8th grade, I don't remember. It was 8th grade.
Yep.
So yeah, we've known each other for a long time.
Cool.
My name is Heather Dearson, and this is my husband, Zane, and our 3 children are over there. We homeschool. We live in Earlham, or by Earlham on a farm. And we got started with Young Living about 7-ish years ago, and I'm on Bobby's team. We're gold, and my husband is a logistics supervisor at Lomar. And if you don't know what that is, it's like the health market area of your Hy-Vees. He provides, his department or whatever business provides food to them. So
She did. Heather Osterheitz and my husband John, and we've been Young Living members since 2010 and started doing the business side at the end of 2012. We are platinum and we live in Ankeny. We also homeschool and have 4 kids. And I'll let John talk about what he does.
Well, I support her. I'm an architect here in Des Moines.
We'll design
Yeah.
your dream homes.
You know?
If we want.
Yeah. You bet. You're man.
All right. Cool. I'm Skylar Mann, and this is my better half, Brian. We have 3 daughters, Mariah, Carlin, and Reagan, and we enrolled in the fall of 2007. So you can do the math on that. I think we're in our 9th year. Thank you. I'm blue, so I don't do math. Proud of it too. What else? Other activities?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, bud.
Well, we've got.
Monster Craft, but I wasn't on your phone.
Oh, okay, good.
I was playing
You to learn from.
Monster Craft with the Legos.
Process even for,
I was doing it.
That's really nice of you.
while I'm also here to school, we're here to share, we're also here to learn.
Some are pretty big,
No.
but
Well,
ones have mutants and abilities as well.
We've all started kind of at different times, with different stages in life a little bit. Was there one couple that was more interested in the beginning? And yeah, one person in the couple, I guess, I'm sorry, that took an interest. Was there?
We were more interested than you were.
At what point were you able to both come, get on board, or was there or were you mutually right away, ready to go for it? So just let Skylar start that, and we'll just work back.
Okay. So in the early days, we strictly enrolled for product use. I did not have any inkling that there was a business attached. And that is because my dear upline also was not interested at that point. That was not her focus. This was a ministry. And so we were happy product users for how many years? 5. We just ordered our stuff and used it and did not bother to ever inquire. So we just didn't know it was a possibility. So in the fall of 2012 was when we took a look at it from a different light. And I think, I don't know where you were product-wise. I mean, you may have used some things. From time to time. Brian really got on board when Young Living started mailing us checks. And when the checks started having commas was when we had a family meeting. So the comma makes a difference.
Well, when we got started with the product, again, it was just for the product use. And I remember the conversation we had where I was begging for the starter kit and he was saying no. And so we negotiated that it would be birthday present, Christmas present, and anniversary present for the year. And then, yeah,
She really wanted it, I'm sorry.
we held out. Yeah. And then.
You had to approach me a little less interested, and I would have given in on my
So that was in 2010, and at that time, he's like, okay, this is just her little thing on the side with her smelly stuff, and I don't want it on me, because I don't want to smell funny when I go somewhere. So he wasn't really interested in using the oils, but I was using them on the kids, and over and over, just having these aha moments, and wasn't able to be quiet about it. I just wanted to start fixing people back before it was not compliant to do that. And so at one point, it was a Saturday morning, and he wasn't going anywhere, and he wasn't, above the wellness line. And so he let me put oils on him, and it was that perfect storm that he had his first aha moment using the oils. And slowly over time, he became a closet user, and then started talking to me. We had so am I going to here? So we had a time where John's firm, instead of firing people, was actually cutting everyone's pay so that no one had to be fired. And so we spent 6 or 8 months basically trying to figure out what we could sell. And then after about 6 or 8 months, the house was on the line. And that was not okay. And so he came to me and said, you tell everybody about these oils. There's got to be a way for you to get paid for that. And I'm thinking, I don't need another thing, right? I got 4 kids, we homeschool. I got all these friends that have their, businesses, and I don't need something else. And so then he pulled out his ultimate trump card, and he said, I want you to pray about it. And so I did, and God made it pretty clear that that was what he wanted us to do. And it's been a huge blessing from there.
I'm Heather as well. But my story is very similar to hers, or our story. We were below the line, and as we the 2 years that we used the oils for our family and we were getting above the line, people were noticing, like our friends and our family were noticing, so it was easy for us to share with them. So as far as the business aspect of things, we were on the same page right off the bat. He was very much on board with us using the oils for our kids and doing different things like that due to our previous situations and stuff. So right away from the get-go, I've been supported. So it's been awesome.
So we kind of have shared a little bit about ours already, but we came to the business for the oils. I did. He thought they just smelled good, and so he actually bought them for me for Christmas one year through Heather coming back. And we just used them, and I, looking back, was building a business, but not intentionally. Heather was teaching classes for me, and people kept wanting to sign up. People kept asking about them, and it just kind of kept spreading and spreading. We really fought the business because we didn't want to be those people. And we'll talk some more about that. This type of business, there are some people in this type of business who I didn't want to be like. And so that was all I could think about when I thought of multi-level marketing, is that not going to do it. And so we really fought it, and we really talked a lot. We prayed about it. We just talked a lot about, because there are still certain things that I kind of go, I can take this and leave that, and that's a journey that we've been through together. And I don't know if there was really an aha moment for us in the business. I think it's been a really gradual thing of us just our eyes being open to the potential and our eyes being open to the integrity of the people that we've been able to work with for this business in particular. So I think it's just been a gradual thing for us. We're still growing into it.
So from the time I bought my kit, very quickly realized how much I love the oils. Trevor, I don't think would say that he loved the oils from the beginning, but he's always very supportive of my really good ideas. So I think the first week after Bobby came up and did a workshop in Rhinebeck for us, I was teaching workshops. So Trevor was very instrumental in watching the kids. I host a lot of the workshops that I do at our business, so it's worked out well that way, because sometimes finding a venue can be a little bit of a problem. So Trevor's been very supportive from the beginning, and I think we look forward to kind of bringing more together. It's so hard to talk about you when I can't see you.
Maria mentioned sometimes the idea of multi-level marketing or this business model can create some discomfort, some unease with maybe lack of understanding or clarity on exactly how it works. Heather and Skylar did a great job at going through kind of the pay scale as rank, and explaining how rank kind of changes. So was that ever a problem for any of you going into it? I guess would be the first thing. And if it was a problem, the business model itself, how did you work through it and come to an understanding of how it would work for you as a business and as a family? So, do you want to start?
Sure, we can start on this end. I was blissfully unaware of any bias against multi-level marketing, which is great. We are business owners, so from the beginning I was like, $150 buy-in and $100 a month, that is a fraction of what our other businesses seems like a pretty good deal. So,
Can you speak for us?
yeah.
I was resistant to it very harshly from the beginning, because past multi-level marketing experiences were not good, not positive experiences. I'd been exposed to the ick factor that Maria kind of alluded to. Also, being a business owner, business partner, and having a full-time retail service business already, I have the brick and mortar mentality. You have a product or service, you set up shop, you invite people to come. You don't go knock on their door and try to give them what they don't need or sell them what they don't need. So from that part of it, for me, I had some real biases, some real walls put up. Slowly but surely, I think one of the things I discovered, and I don't know, there was an aha moment in there somewhere. Maria was showing me a video or
It was a paycheck.
yes and no, yes and no. But
The common.
but the reality is from the salesman standpoint, and that's where I found out. That's where my bias kind of was at. Is that I don't like salespeople, but the reality is I'm a salesperson. We're all salespeople. We sell each other. We sell ourselves every day to our employer, to customers, to the public, to friends and family. We sell who we are, and through that, I discovered there's really two types of salespeople. There's those that have integrity and they're honest and have a good product to provide people with, and they're interested in giving that or helping people attain that product so their life can improve. And that's who I try to be every day of my life. So I had to kind of block out that that salesman that I was used to coming into the shop saying, "Oh, your shelves need to have this stuff so you can make X amount of money next year." They get pushy and they won't take no for an answer, and they've been skilled on if they say this, you say this, and that's not who I am. That's not who I respond to. And so I had to get through that. And Maria, she said she was a natural business builder from the beginning because she's an information hound. She loves on people so well that when she's hurting, she does whatever she can to help them. And oils was just another way to do that. She was just, out sharing and trying to help people improve their lives. And now she's discovered she can actually help them improve their bank accounts. And that's been a real driving force. And I couldn't be more. I couldn't have a better business partner. Let's put it that way. I'll pass.
We can reverse that. Yeah, you could get all kinds of points tonight, Mark.
That network marketing thing was kind of, at first, like I said, we started using it for ourselves for the first 2 years. And my sponsor was not in the business aspect of things either at the same time that I enrolled. So it was a little bit harder or slower process for me. I have had network marketing experience in the past with companies, and I didn't have a very positive experience. A lot of money went into it, that kind of thing. And you were one of those people. And I always felt like I was constantly meeting people and that kind of thing. That's not what I wanted to do. So when I started to share with other people, and we started to get a paycheck, we realized that by going to classes like business meetings, we're going into Inspired Grounds, Green Grounds at the time, things like that, we were getting a lot of knowledge, and I was seeing how this is totally different than other companies. And this is a lifestyle change. It's not a product that is just going to be like, okay, you're going to use it once, and you're so thankful that you got that pan or that you got that cool cup or whatever it might be, and stuff. But it was a lifestyle change. You actually could see people being impacted by the product. And that was extremely emotional. It was very moving for me. And when you come to meetings and you hear people's testimonials on either how it's helped from the health aspect or that it's helped from the business aspect, it just totally, that whole network marketing mind frame just went away. And once you start sharing from the heart, I never look at it as a network marketing business. I get a check, but I love what I do, and I'm committed to helping people. And so that's kind of how I've overcome that. So.
Well, I'm kind of like T. I didn't really have a negative impression of network marketing. However, I did confuse direct sales with network marketing. I figured they were all lumped in together. And I have a lot of friends in direct sales who are selling their bags or their purses or their kitchenware, and that's what I thought all network marketing business was. And that if you weren't having a party, if you weren't selling your thing, you don't get paid. And what I was pleasantly surprised and excited that network marketing is actually different, that you can go sit on the beach for a while after you've built your team and still collect a paycheck. You can get sick for a month and still collect your paycheck, whereas in direct sales, if you aren't doing the parties, you're not making any money. So that's what I love about network marketing.
And I would agree, we had no previous negative experience. I know some people have a little hurdle that they have to get past when you hear some of those large sums of money, that some people have that mindset that, oh my gosh, anybody that earns that must be evil. What are you gonna do with it? And I came from a family that openly talked about finances and openly talked about stewardship and tithing, and money was never a bad thing. In fact, it was a powerful tool. And so when I found out that I could follow Sonia's lead and create a business that would create a powerful income, the only thing that came into my head was, oh my gosh, I am going to write a check for $1 million to my favorite organization someday. And I've said it out loud a number of times, but that is one of my goals, is to give away $1 million to Outreach International, which is one of my favorite organizations. And they've seen me say that, so now I'm really held to it. But I know that it's possible, and I have no work sense at all that the more money we get, that we're gonna get dweebed and turn out bad. I'm like, bring it on. I got places I want to divvy it out to. So if that's a hurdle for you, talk to me, because I don't think it needs to be.
Guys, anything to add to what you're sharing?
Well, with the network marketing, as we have with most jobs, there's caps to your income. There's a ceiling that you hit that most likely if you work 30 years, you're not going to get much past whatever. And with this business, the sky's the limit. It's only how much you want to put into it, and it's awesome to see. I know a lot of people who get into business building, they start seeing their teams grow, and then they kind of forecast out, okay, if I continue this growth over 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, it's exciting to see that. It does take work, and Heather is busy doing that, but we see her time invested in it now is definitely going to pay off and really allow us to do things that we never thought possible.
Let's stick with the guys, and let's, here's a kind of a three-part question. Do you have a favorite product? Would be the first part of it. Then who are you inclined to share with, if you share? And then from that, how do you share? How do you go about promoting the family business? I'm sorry.
Sure. First, I'd say that just inherently, the way it was built, like, I'm not a product user of any kind. Like, I don't use hand lotion, barely use shampoo, and so I don't use chapstick, and she's dealt with that for years, well, I don't mind water occasionally. But, I would like to get chapped hands. She's like, here's some hand lotion. Like, I don't know why, like some of the textures and stuff, it was just not my thing. And so, as, she got into this, but she kind of told me about it on my desk for me, and I didn't know anything about it. And so it became like a bigger and bigger part of our lives. And so now I wouldn't say that I have a favorite product, but she always picks the right one. Whatever, and she's just like, oh, you're like, okay, this is a wacky slogan.
Is it compliant? Who cares?
It's close to compliant. Yeah. I'm putting you with wellness. But I'm a pretty anxious person. I just, by nature, anxiety and occasionally, randomly, out of nowhere, for no reason, I have panic disorder. Not for real, it's like, God, it's like, don't freak out! So, and this happens quite a bit, but we took this vacation to Cincinnati to see some friends, and we also did some other stuff, and I drove the whole way, and we were getting into Cincinnati, and all of a sudden, Teeny's very she could be on vacation in a second, And so the whole way, everything's like, let's stop there. I'm just like, you don't understand. And just the anxiousness, driving 90 miles an hour, so I had to go to the bathroom. I was like, not starving. Somewhere in Ohio, I think, we're almost to Cincinnati, and all of a sudden there's some chest pains. Like, it was like all of a sudden, like, oh my God. So she like takes the car over to the side of the road. Before I know it, it was like, she was beating me like a Mayan warrior. There was like, there was like, cracks and elbows. And well, I'm going fine, I'm fine. I actually thought I was fine. She's like, this is sheer freaking me out. So, anyway. Yeah, we did make it to Cincinnati, and I felt great afterwards. I was like, wow. And needless to say, that was a month ago. I haven't been able to drive since. And also, so like if I have friends, family, or neighbors, I'm more of a muscle. So if they're like, oh, I'm just like, you should probably talk to my wife. She can pick it up. I don't necessarily, I don't know if I'm trusted with products. Yeah, I would not be fine. It's right in their eye. Like, I think it's what she does for me all the time.
Prism. Those are probably my two favorites because every time I hurt my back a lot. I gained a lot of weight. I still like to do things I used to do. So bending over, doing different projects, I end up hurting myself. So I even just kind of happened for us. I mean, it wasn't an oil that seemed to be talked about a lot, but it does really work well. There's really not a flavor for it, so I can just put it under my tongue like crazy. And it's not a hot oil. It tastes a little bit like bark maybe, but it's just not a bad taste. I don't have to chase it down with something. And then when I shave a lot, I cut my face, and so I pillar prism, kind of that oil before I'm going to church and my face is bleeding. Finally, I come across pillar prism. What was the longest the first time? That was a blood thinner. Clove, don't use clove. That's that was 2 years ago. But pillar prism, that was a good one for me. Also, my face breaks out a lot when I shave. So after I shave with the Young Living shaving cream, I grew up in love. I actually put Valor on it, which helps me from breaking out for whatever reason. I have no idea. But those are kind of the oils that I use. I use those. And as far as sharing, I've shared with a couple guys I work with, and I'm not much for sharing. They're younger guys. They both have children that are a year old or less. They're in the doctor's office all the time. They're struggling to just pay bills. So I'm like, hey, you can buy this oil and use it 100 times, and it's $25 or whatever, instead of the copay after copay after copay. And that's really what sold those young guys on that. They don't use it as often as they probably should, but it's a start anyways. I mean, we all started somewhere. They've got it in their house, and every now and then they'll ask, well, what should I do for this? Of course, I'm texting editor. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big sharer at all. I think I would tell a lot of people, maybe hypocritical, but don't be afraid to share it, because I've shared with a couple people and both of them signed up. So
You're 100%.
Well, one oil that I have a few at my desk, and one that I like around 1 or 2 o'clock or so when I get a little drowsy, I have Idaho Blue Spruce that I kind of put on my finger here rather than diffuse, and kind of just prop my hand up, and I can smell it, and I can still do the mouse thing. And what it does is just wakes you up and gets your mind kind of working, and supposedly it kind of helps with creativity too. And obviously, as an architect, I want to be alert into what I'm doing, and I've enjoyed that. I have a little diffuser, USB diffuser at work too that I started with. At first, I was diffusing motivation because I really like smelling motivation. But then she told me how much it was. So
That was motivation.
I still use it. Anyway. But no, the people at work I've shared with most people at work. And there's probably 20 some at my office, and maybe 4 or 5 have used the oils, and some are regularly buying oils. So I don't retain all the information that she has, but I get a sense just overhearing people talk at work how they're struggling with this and their child is going through that. It's like, you want to be compliant, and I do my best to be compliant, but yeah, just helping people see that there's a different option. It's like, 10 years ago, if you would have said essential oils to us, you would say, what's that? I mean, yeah. So that's kind of what I kind of have my ear bent at the office, like when I hear people struggling and wanting something different, to kind of keep my ears open and send them Heather's way.
Yeah, I like to run a lot, and so I think Hanaway has kind of been my go-to oil when I go to the most. But I can relate to the Helicursion. That was my first really wow moment with the oil personally. I think, this guy was telling me about all the people, exciting stories and things like, I'm pretty healthy. I don't really have those. Finally experience something myself. Wow, that really is amazing. I don't share nearly as much as Skylar does, but I like to tell people, oh yeah, she talked to my wife.
I would echo that sentiment that I'm kind of behind Maria going, she's right, trust her. And, for me, probably favorite product is Steve's. The last 2 years have been the best wellness years of my life outside of a couple years where I was addicted to running. Thankfully, I got over that. Otherwise, I'd probably have a animal too. But Sensational is great too. But I'll let you. I'll let you take that. Let's focus back there.
Let's hear your sensation story.
How many couples have used the Sensation oil? Okay, everybody up here. Anybody out here use Sensation? Okay, does it work?
Yes.
Okay. It's free Sensation. I'm just saying, if you guys.
There might be a correlation to when you start using it to when you end up on the panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Let's bring it back in. All right, now let's talk about as couples. What goals do you have, and where do you see the business taking your family?
You do such a good job there. What was the question again?
What goals you guys have, and where do you see the business taking?
Well, actually, as far as us together, this would be the first season, probably the last 3 months. After doing it for 3 years now, that we buckled down with both of us. Like she said, we own another business, which we were a few years in when she started with Young Living, and I mean that has taken every bit of my time and really her time to get through that. So this is the first time that me and her really sat down, and I would say it's kind of weird because we love the money, and we can't. Well, there's a lot of things that it really does. I mean, money is just awesome, and it helps us out. But we're kind of weird that I think she's more concerned about the health of the family and what the products are doing there, and then also how she can help other people with the products. So sometimes I think with our goals, it's more like how we can use them more ourselves, sort of minister them to other people, and just let the money kind of fall in as it has so far. And with the both of us, we're looking at now, say, in the coming year, of doing more stuff together, more workshops together.
Heard him say
Well, because when you consider how long it's taken for us to build a conventional business like you have, versus with her, and I'm not saying this like in any flippant way at all, but in a semi-serious way. Like she's very serious about it, but I'm up early, to bed late, working very, very hard to to slowly chip away at this, and then she just comes home and is like, well, here's another check. And I'm like, what are you doing? You know? And so yeah, I suppose our goals would be just to continue to use the products and let as many people know about them as we can, and do it more as a couple than just with her.
I think that there is a huge opportunity for men. I think that there are a lot of men needing fit and men here at Heather. True. I know you have something to share probably about goals.
No,
Where
I
does
do.
it take us? You don't want to share?
I'm not the goal setter of the
I know,
dreamer in our family.
see, this is a
She's the
whole
goal,
new thing
the
for
goal
us.
setter of the dreamer, and I just jump on the carpet ride.
Seriously, we've been together for what, 25 years total? We've been married for 19. He has never been a dreamer. Never. If nothing
I live
else,
in
what Young
reality.
Living has brought to our relationship is that he is now open to thinking about what the future could hold and putting down some dreams and letting me put together a plan for us to potentially get him out of his current business and do this full time. And so, you know, where we see it taking us, I guess, I'm just blown away that it's at this point already. I mean, that just really, it does blow my mind because I look at how hard he's worked for 30 years to have what he has and what we've done in 2 years. And if we look 2 or 4 or 6 years out, I can't even, I just can't imagine that. And honestly, for me, a part of it is, we've thought of it as a ministry. I have thought of it as a ministry. I can't tell you how many oils I give away. And I don't just give away samples. I know it's probably stupid, but I give away Deep Relief. I order it every month, and I just give it to people because that's what convinces people when they can use it multiple times and they feel it and they go, oh my gosh, I need that. But that's not necessarily why I do it. But Young Living compensates us so well, and when you are on Essential Rewards and you're getting all that free product, to me, it's just like, I'm getting all this, I need to give more of this away. And so I don't feel bad about giving it away, and it has come back to us 100-fold. And so, you know, we really do have some goals laid out for the next few years, and looking towards the future, that could mean both of us doing this. So that's a very real reality. So it's exciting to finally be able to dream with him, have him on board.
What was the second part of the question?
Where do you see the business taking your family?
Okay.
Goals, and then where do you see it taking your
I think that our goals are right now is just for financial freedom. Eventually down in the future, we would love to be home as a family and homeschool as a family and have the same part of that as our daily routine. But right now, even just to maintain or to obtain that financial freedom is kind of our goal. So, and I think that that's important because I know that Sonia and I and Zane have sat down before, and Bobby and Travis. So I encourage you to sit down with your sponsor, your leader, or something. But just to get it out on paper and just start small, so that you don't see this great big humongous picture of my husband's going to retire in 5 years, and you're like, where do I begin? So just kind of start a little bit smaller and just say, okay, whether it's I have no idea. I mean, our vehicles are paid for, but if it's like $3,000 that you have left on a car payment or something like that, this is where I'm going to get. So even if it's just a portion of that check that you put aside and you put some of it into savings and you put some of it towards the extra bills, just that financial freedom of what you can, what you can do. I mean, I know that the whole saying is that $200 could change somebody's life. So even if you had, I know that some of you guys are senior stars here. Well, you're making that $200 paycheck. So whether that's changing your life by paying for your product, if your life is being changed because you have optimal health, or whether it's that you have that $200 that you can invest in a bill or something like that, then that's like really powerful. And so our goals are we have short term and we have some long term, and we talk together to kind of stay focused on how are we going to get to that next step. What are we going to do with this money now? And just, kind of go like that. So, yep, helping people is the main goal. And like I said, then the money kind of comes naturally, like what Trevor was saying. So,
I remember when we first started thinking about doing this as a business, sitting down with Sonia, and Sonia asked us, John and I sat down, and she said, how much money do you need a month? What would make a difference in your budget? And she, I let John answer that because I'm blue, so numbers, woohoo! And he said $200 would make a difference in our budget. And that was back when we were starting to talk about selling the house. We said $500, I just can't even imagine an extra $500 a month. And that's how far we could go, right? And now, you know, in the beginning, I was kind of doing most of the planning for the business and forecasting. And slowly over time, you know, it's moved into, he was on the computer every night checking my downline viewer. And finally I got so tired of logging him in that I just put Oily Tools on his phone. And now he is the one calling me and saying, hey, did you know what's going on? What's going on with so-and-so? I see this is happening in your downline. I'm like, get back to work. I'll follow. And similar to Mark, you know, not that John didn't have dreams either, but our dream was never to have him leave his job because he loves what he does. And, you know, and now it's something that he's actually thinking about. What if I didn't work full time? What if I got to choose the projects I worked on? And what if we just did something else only when I wanted to, you know? And so we do have those goals as well as different ministry goals, and, you know, debt-free is also one of our goals. And I think that, you know, we don't have a regular routine yet of sitting down and goal planning, but that's really important to have regular time in your life where you sit down and talk about how is the business going, how's it going to happen, and make those negotiations.
Sure. I think early on, at least for me, I had a dollar amount in mind that I thought we could just hit like $2,000 a month. You know, that'd be some real money. You know, do a lot of things we want to do, on vacation we want to, that type of thing. Then
Might need that
you know,
mic.
we did that in relatively short amount of time. You know, so then we started dreaming like, oh, well, okay, what would it take? You know, to reach a point where, well, I could, you know, join Scala full time in a business, or, you know, repurpose myself or whatever else I wanted to. You know, so that's kind of the next step where we're at now. But it's kind of fun to be able to, you know, look out a ways and see, oh, well, you know, if we got from point A to point B in, you know, 3-4 years, you know, where could we be in another 4 years or 10 years or whatever down the road? So, you know, it's almost limitless to think about where you.
Heather brought up an interesting point. Maybe just show of hands. Do any of you get together as a couple on a regular basis and plan or goal set or have that conversation? Once a month, how often?
Well, we
Quarterly?
do more like functional powwows, like Sunday nights. How's the week going? What's on the calendar? How's it all going to go down? Right? Those are more the quickie powwows, and then we don't really have official, you know, forecasting. But
Third Tuesday of every month.
right, but it happens in the crowd.
Sure.
Usually it's when I say it's time. And then we sit.
So I kind of alluded to it, but I'm interested to hear your guys' experience. So as the business sort of took off, and you really started devoting time to it, how did you kind of navigate through that? You know, like for us, it was a genuine lifestyle change. Maria was doing classes 2, sometimes 3 nights a week, either in our home where, you know, me and the kids had to try to, you know, be invisible for a little while, or you know, other people bring their kids, and suddenly now I'm watching not 2 kids, but like 7 or 12.
Right.
You know, so how did you guys navigate? How did you navigate that early stage of business build? Does that make sense? We'll start small.
Sure. I'm a big proponent of family meetings, especially if you have children. But if you don't have kids, you know, you and your spouse, if you're not married, you and the mirror, just get real with what it's going to look like. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But I distinctly remember early on when I decided I was going to have a lot of classes every week, I knew that we needed to get our kids, and Brian too, all bought into the same idea. And so they helped. I mean, when we were doing 3 and 4 classes a week, the girls would help clean the house, at least, you know, the parts that were going to be visible, and throw everything in the bedrooms, of course, but I mean, we did what we had to do. But everybody was in on it. I never hid my kids because I wanted them to see what I was doing, and they were helpful. I mean, I remember they would pass the oils and, chime in periodically. For the longest time, and even still, I mean, probably 2.5 years, Brian did all the grocery shopping and pretty much all of the laundry because I couldn't get it all done, and there's a lot of heaps and a lot of messes. And when I hit platinum, this is something that you can dream about, and maybe for you sooner, but when I hit platinum, my treat to myself was that I hired a cleaning service. And they come once a month because we're immaculate people and that's all we need to clean. But I figure if you can get the house all clean one time a month, that could go a long ways, and I can do things in between. But I just decided there's ways that I can use my money that will free up my time, and I'm more valuable. That was something I learned from, I don't know, many trainings, but if my time is worth $200 an hour to go do a class and enroll 4 people, then I shouldn't be using those 2 hours to clean my house because I can pay somebody $150 to do that. So there's true logic to it, but you've got to work. You got to make that up. I don't remember what the question was, but I'm sure that was spot on. Something about goal setting. He just picked up every slack that there was, and then he went to work too. So he's pretty much amazing.
Woohoo!
Anybody else want to chime in?
I did all that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You did all that? You did.
For us, like I said, Zane has great hours where he works and stuff like that. But lots of times I travel, and so I would have to pack up the kids, and they'd help me clean the house. They'd help me carry bags to the cars. And then when I got there, they help unpack, whether it's stapling, whether it's passing things out, whether it's checking people in, passing the oils. Now they give their testimonies, and they kind of chime in for the workshops and stuff. And when I'm not, when I don't have to travel and the kids are able to stay at home, then Zane picks up everything. And the biggest thing that I have to commend him on is that over these past few years that we've decided to work it as a business, there has never been one complaint that I'm doing the workshop. There's never one complaint that he might have to make. Never. It's like, okay, and we kind of do what Heather does. We sit down, we kind of forecast what the week's going to look like, so that if there's a project that I need to help him with, we know, okay, Tuesday is the night that I have to be home to help with this because I'm gone every other night, or something like that. So, he's just been amazing. So, yeah.
Tell him that.
He's amazing. In all honesty, he's done more laundry in the last, 2 years than probably in 19 years of marriage. He just knew where to pick it up and go. But I have to be honest, in the early stages of building this business, I know that there were times when I was absolutely obsessed about what I was doing. And my business was on my brain 24/7. And there were times when he just had to go, honey, you need to let it go. And he would have to reel me back in and say, and it was hard at first. It was really hard during those stages because when you own your own business, he owns his own business. And if the alarm company calls at 3 a.m., you get up and go meet the police there. You're attached to that business 24/7. So we've known that lifestyle, but I personally didn't know how to handle that in the early stages. And so if it was 8 o'clock at night, the kids just went to bed, my mind's going, I need to make this, I need to do this, I want to set up this class. And we would just have to say, okay, just, breathe and just let's keep this in perspective. There were some frustrating times, but you want to share about that? Or add to that?
Well, like I say, it was went from, a
Hobby to.
I'm going to do this as a business. So even when she was present, we're having dinner as a family, we're doing whatever, she was physically present, but mentally she was checked out because her mind was wrapping around what she needed to do on her checklist, to do the business side of it. So some of that I had to exhibit some patience, but then there was other times I said, sweetheart, you got to switch it off at some point, because we're going to burn out here. But and she's a very driven and focused person, and that's one of the things I really love about her. So there was growing pains, I think is the best way I can describe it, just some honest growing pains. And through, faith is very central to our life, so through forgiveness and being open and honest and communicating well, saying, okay, today's probably not a good day for, X, Y, Z. We were open and communicated and didn't use it attacking. That didn't always happen. We said sorry a lot, I think, for about 6 to 8 months. Because there's also that dilemma of, okay, you're bringing in $200, sweetheart, that's in the month, you got a $200 check, and I think you put in how many hours? So, from where, you can relate to putting in time to a business, you got to spend money to make money. For this type of business, it's that time investment. So that's what we had to really endure early on, is that time investment, how that affected our family. And, there were some rocky days, but like you say, we've kind of come through on the other side of that.
And just to add quickly to that is that I think what helped us to overcome that the most is when I personally had some growing moments and said, I can't do this 24/7. Like, I know I'm attached to it, but I need to set out some parameters. And so I need to put the phone down, I need to walk away from the computer, I need to set hours of the day where I can devote my time and my energy to my business, and then I need to be able to walk away from it and give my kids attention and make dinner, which there were plenty of nights that dinner didn't get made because I'm still on the computer working something, and so I would definitely recommend the earlier you do it, the better, to start setting parameters. And whether that's that you're only going to do X amount of classes every week, and that's something we've had to work through because we are in a lot of ministries as well. And so, there's only so much time in a week for me to do a class or two. But setting those hours throughout the day to know that this is when you can devote and this is when you need to walk away. And the beauty is it keeps happening. Even when you walk away, you might check away with tools once in a while and go, oh, look at there, I wasn't doing anything and I just made some money.
And I would say that's a nice segue into, I feel like we all know that this is a business and it's, a personal growth program disguised as a business, right? So the people that are successful are the people that are willing to grow and change and learn what they need to learn to become who they need to become. And so one of my growth areas, I'm not a disciplined person in terms of scheduling, and I am having to learn that in order to not burn out. I have to plan school hours and stick to them. I have to plan work hours and stick to them. And I agree with Heather too. And I learned, like, there was a time, not right now, but there was a time in my life where I had like set hours of school, and I promised the kids that I would do no phone calls. I wouldn't check email. I wouldn't do any of that stuff because everything's just, you have everything you need on your phone now. So it's so easy. You don't have to log into a computer or something. And I will tell you that over the past few months, that has kind of gone to the wayside. And I'm like, Maria, and my husband has to say, we're going to bed together tonight, or something like that, because I will sit down. I will be on the computer. I will be on my phone. I'll take a phone call, late at night. Once in a while, it's fine, but it became habit, or like not habit, a routine. And I would make my phone calls late at night because that was easy. Everybody was in bed, and I could just make phone calls, and I could talk until midnight, and it didn't matter, And but I totally agree with Heather. Life is so much easier when you can just sit and say, from 9 until 3. My emails, I put an out-of-office response saying I am unavailable, but I will return your, emails or your phone calls from here to here, and people just knew it. And then now I've gotten out of that routine, and so it makes a little bit more chaos during the day, during meal plannings, during what needs to be done, and stuff like that with school and stuff. So again, whether you have kids at home, whether you work a full-time job, whatever it is, just have set hours that you're doing your
Guys, any other ways that our wives miss that you support them?
Come on.
There's certain times in the business where, especially early on, you kind of are making $400 or $500 a month, and you're investing more sometimes than you're making just to go on that trip or get that plane ticket. And it took some negotiation on, how do we see this working? And it's just being open and discussing, well, hey, this person is really naturally minded, very receptive, and so, and not that every workshop that she went at, she came out a winner, but there's oftentimes, she, and most, it did turn out well, and then if it didn't, there's that seed that's been planted. There's been numerous times where out of the blue they call up and they're like, hey, this came up and I think would mention for my health or whatever. And so yeah, it's like one of those things where you have to be on the same page as far as how much you're going to invest. Obviously, in business, there's a risk that you take in investing in the building. And so with this business, there's not a lot of upfront costs, but as you go through and you start building, you're going to have to make those choices, whether you're driving, 4 times a month to another city.
No, just, I suppose maybe, yeah, what's going to say something?
I like it.
No, just she saying it has done the same to me, so it was pretty easy. Yeah, kind of give and take thing. And I think if find a works and run, just kind of let it go. And she does, and she, it's like, man, you got some skills. So,
for the sake of
that's
time,
right, exactly.
let's just open it up briefly. Is there anything that we haven't covered? Any concerns, thoughts that we haven't covered up here that you want to throw up here at the panel?
Julie.
Were any of you men ever insecure when your women started making more money than you?
That doesn't happen yet, but when it does, I'll wonder.
I think I would echo what was said maybe earlier. The time and personal investment I have into my own business, and to see what appears to be not as much effort in getting very quick and creeping up to similar, if not better results. But I'm with him. Part of our goal is if she hits a certain number, I'm checking out, and not retiring. I'm going to go to that spot where I can choose what jobs I take. I don't say yes to every project that comes my way to provide for my family, because the family will be provided for. Now we can just go at a pace that allows us to soak it all in, I guess. So,
like Heather mentioned, for me, I really enjoy what I do. I don't see myself not doing what I do, but cutting back from 40 to 30 hours a week, which I think is very doable, and I can still maintain and do the projects I'm doing, and spend more time at home. And like you guys mentioned, being more part of the homeschooling environment, which is really exciting. Something I never really let myself go there. I always viewed myself, I'm going to work 40 hours a week for 40 years and I'm going to retire, and I'll do okay, but that's where my dream stopped. That's what I thought was possible, but obviously, Heather is very gifted, and she has an amazing team in Moines under Sonia. It's just exciting with this line of business where you have that residual income that's coming in. She does put forth a lot of effort in her business, but it's just exciting to kind of dream.
Anyone else?
Is it shy?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys understand like the business side, and how it works,
So for the people watching online there, the question is, do the guys understand the business model and the compensation plan? I know enough, I guess is how I would answer that I understand it, it makes sense. Go get it, right?
I think some of it just comes down to trust too. When you're in a relationship, when you're in a marriage, I think at some point when you decide to do something like this, you lay everything out, and And like he said, he knows enough, but really he just trusts that I really know enough that, you know, we're in a good place. But I did have to sell him on it and help him understand, because it is very different. And for him being in business, it has been harder for him to understand that this is a doable model, it's a legitimate model, and it's, you know, amazing. So.
We did kind of a role reversal in our family, Kim. In the early days, Brian would ask me how I made the money and where it came from, and I would explain it to the best of my knowledge. In recent months, Brian has taken a much deeper look at things and now has, on his own free will, researched deeply the compensation plan so that he can open up our virtual office and say, okay, you need to help this person hit silver to maximize our check. Don't worry about this person right now. This person, yes, invest in that way. And he's giving me strategic tips from a wonderful green perspective, because I'm just fluid. I'm like, oh, you're smiling? Fantastic. I'll come and work with you. And no strategy whatsoever. So it's awesome, because now we've enriched that experience and we can maybe work even smarter and not harder.
Sometimes when I'm working, like, people are just trying to, you know, like, should you not do this? And to encourage us to try to explain it to our husbands. I know I tried, I wasn't quite get it yet, you know, like how.
I don't think you can force it down anybody too soon, just like the products and the business. When he's ready, I think he'll come asking.
What about the comp team book or something like this one?
Yeah, Jake Dempsey wrote a wonderful little book called Driven that explains in narrative form how the comp plan works. There are oodles of videos on YouTube that you can send, you know, a daily afternoon break. Here's what you can watch today, honey, and watch those. And even the definitions in the not policies and procedures, or maybe this one, but just understanding the terminology, because we throw around those terms, OGV and, you know, PGV and whatnot. Our spouses don't know in the beginning what all that means. So,
and Kim, another option that might be very helpful too is that when you go to convention, they have a lot of those, you know, classes, and there's a lot of men attend those because they're like how Brian, they're very red or they're green, they want to know. Yeah. So those are very, very good. They talk right down on their level, and so that might be an option too, where it's a fun environment, but yet you can go and he can learn.
I would say convention was a turning point for us because it took it from something that I was doing that he still supported to something that he then became a part of and started to have ideas and thoughts for. And he was starting to make business suggestions to me in terms of products or services that might be helpful. Instead of me having to say, well, could I spend this on this tool? He was at convention, he heard the tool, he came to me, and I'm like, really? We should invest in that tool? So it brought that element, and then now things are happening, like he'll say something to me, and I'm like, who taught you that? Like, I didn't teach you that. You're so smart. So then he's now encouraging me in the way that we always encourage each other in our business meetings. I'm starting to get that at home.
I also figure that it's in due time. He'll figure it out when he needs to figure it out, because he's also running his own business. And I don't want to, you know, I don't want to impose that on him until he needs to, because someday he'll be the bookkeeper and my accountant and all of that. And he's the numbers guy, so when he needs to and he has that brain space to fill with that, he'll learn it then, and all of this will make more sense.
And early on, you know, and even now, you know, we're building our team organically, and it just happens, and it beats. Just let that process work naturally.
I would add to the, maybe if you could, you know, in dialogue question, the key for me was getting past looking at the differences in the business model, you know, being coming from a traditional business model to this. I had to get past looking at the differences and see how they were similar. Like I say, I talked about being a salesperson, and it comes down to being what kind of salesperson you want to be. One that's just worried about the bottom line, and check, or do you really want to, provide and help people with service, products, and enhance other people's life with what you do? And I think that was a big key for me from kind of getting over that hurdle. Is once I zeroed in on how it's similar to what I was doing, I became more receptive and open to it, and ultimately supportive. I mean, I said I was supportive for a long time, and the reality is I wasn't 100% behind it until, made that first $800 check. And I was like, oh, okay. But,
And is my name on the account?
Yeah.
Actually,
He
there's
set it
a lot,
up with his name when he got.
I think I got
Oh,
the
there you
first
go.
executive or something, right?
Yeah.
This is easy.
Okay, so I have a question. Have you ever been kind of feeling jealous of the time that your wife has spent out of the house and not taking care of you, not paying attention to you? And if you have felt jealous, what do you do about that? How do you communicate about that type of thing? Because, I mean, these ladies all of a sudden went from, I'm a normal, whatever kind of wife to, oh my gosh, I'm so passionate about this. I have to be doing this every single day. I have to talk to somebody. I have to be in class tonight. I mean, they go from this to just crazy passionate about something that maybe in the beginning you aren't involved in. And I can see from a guy's perspective how that could be difficult, that, oh my gosh, all of a sudden she's spending all this time. What about me?
Well, yeah, and Heather did spend a lot of time.
I'm going to interject. There was weeks I saw Heather more than John. She was down my house after we're in class. That felt weird.
But yes, there was times where I'm at home with the kids and I can't do the projects I want to do because she's doing side business at the time. And yeah, there was some frustration, but the reality is, for me at least, is we have a team in town under Sonia that there's so many people that were succeeding as a business. This was growing. I mean, when we first met you, you were probably a silver.
Probably.
And I was starting to see, hey, these people that are just like you and me, and they're normal, and they're able to accomplish these things. So in the back of my mind, it's like, okay, we'll take one for the team, or we'll take this on, because I knew that 1, 2, 3 years down the line, this hard work is going to pay off. It really has. So with her being gone, that's kind of where I went. Like, this is an investment that we're making in the future.
And you have also, though, put your foot down a couple times and said.
But yeah, we had to pull her back to certain nights of the week. She can't be gone all the nights. We limited it to like 2 or 3 nights a week. And, we tried to maintain family as much as possible, but and that's still something we work on. But again, if we're trying to reach this level where maybe I can come home and work 30-hour weeks, how does that change? What's that worth?
Yeah.
Is it worth an extra 10 hours a week for her to invest? And, those are some trade-offs that we see a lot of people succeeding and are encouraged by it. So.
I can speak to that on the end, but I think a lot of that for us has come down to just mutual respect for the other person's personal growth and the other person's passions. And I think he sees that I'm passionate about this. This is something I feel like is worthy and I might have a little bit of a knack for. And I think that there's just a mutual respect, that he respects the fact that this feeds me too. I love my family. I get fed by them too, and my faith. But there's just something about being able to go and do something and be successful about with it. It's something that I'm doing. And yeah, we're doing it together, but it's something that I'm passionate about. I love doing. I enjoy doing. I get to be around people I love and love to be around. And so I think he just has a respect, maybe speaking of you, but I feel like he just has a respect for my need to grow as well. And just being careful of not, pulling me into where I feel like I can't do anything that I want to do because I need to homeschool, I need to do this, like I choose to do all these other things. So that makes sense.
It does. I'd say she had I could see that it made her happy. So that was part of it that allowed me to let her have that time, I guess, to invest in. Also, I was,
Guilt-free time.
Guilt-free
There's
time.
a difference
Yeah.
between having time and having it guilt-free.
Right.
In the beginning, it was
It's not
not
much
guilt-free. And it was hard.
Yes. But how we got past it was through communication. And the other thing too is being very intentional about the time we did spend together. Unplug, let's go for a walk and talk. Let's not just sit in front of the TV. Let's really interact with each other. So being very intentional about the time we did have together became really important, not just together, but with our kids, the four of us. And that's the
And the sensation, I'm guessing, helped, right? And she treated you like a rock star and ripped your clothes off when you came in. But that's not happening yet, ladies. Just saying, these boys, you've been talking about how phenomenal they are. It's about time you just attack them when they come to the front door like they're.
She's my biggest.
I don't know, do you think I'm jealous? Because I don't think I am, but maybe you'd have a different perspective.
I'd be shocked if I don't say jealous.
Well, but and I think one thing that, like as far as personal growth or whatever, we're both pretty good. I don't know, I can't think of anything worse than looking back after being like the same person that I am, that she is in 5 years. Because, when we both grow and change, and it makes marriage fun. Otherwise,
And I also think that there's, when you have a mutual understanding of where you want to go or where you're going to be, in the future, like what you were talking about, there is no jealousy because really it's kind of a trade-off. There's things that he does that I don't want to do. And there's things that I do that he doesn't want to do. So if I go and do a workshop, he takes advantage of that time and he does things outside that he wants to trinket with or that he wants to play with or that he wants to fix or whatever it is, Yeah. And he does them with the kids. And my kids now are older. I mean, I remember the time when we first started the business. It's been a growing stage and we have definitely grown and changed as well. But, so there's just a lot of opportunity. And so it kind of gives you that time because I will say that probably he, more than me, is very connected to family. I mean, it is extremely important for us to be together every minute that we can be. And so when we are apart, he'll take advantage of doing stuff that he wants to do. And so it's kind of a trade-off. I mean, he works all day long and I get to be with the kids. I love to have time with him, but I don't know if you are a stay-at-home mom or something, because sometimes it's nice to, and it's nice just to have date night. Well, if I can't have date night and be away, then why not go have date night with my gals, and do fun stuff. And so it's a trade-off. So there's absolutely no jealousy in our household.
I think we covered it all. Any more questions?
Oh, yeah.
Please.
I think I probably already know the answer, and I'm not going to give you much input here, but do you guys, are any of your relationships with people like you're the same color personality, and how does that impact?
I can't even tell where it is.
You probably are, so maybe. No?
He's definitely a red. He's a banner, I'm a blue.
How would you attack it if both of you have the same color type? Like, how would you address the challenges of having the same color?
That's a good question. I don't know. I used to say that John was like the greenest man I knew aside from his father, but I'm learning. I think that John is actually very driven also, and I'm red blue. So I think when our reds collide, we're driven sometimes in different ways, or motivated, not so much driven. We're motivated by different things because he's green red, and I'm blue red. So what motivates us is different, and so we have to learn to talk to each other that way. If I come at him about how much fun this workshop is going to be, that's different than if I come at him with how many people are going to be there and what that means to our bottom dollar.
and our goals. That's just an example, not, we don't really do that, but I would say learn what motivates you, learn what your talking style is, and talk to each other in the terms that you respond to. What motivates you, what drives you.
It's teamwork, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's really teamwork. I mean, the red, blue, green, all that, I don't even know what that is. I heard the colors. I'm like,
Is there a workshop for that?
talking about the rainbow. All I know is there's more times than not where I can tell Heather, you need to go out and, have you done a workshop here? Or, kind of what Brian was saying earlier, you have to know downline. I never look at the downline either, but because she's real good at doing that sort of thing. But, you play off each other's weaknesses and strengths both, really. And I just think that's kind of helps even this whole thing out. If anything, she's more guilty about being gone. She feels bad when she has to go to a workshop. She's oh, I have to go again tonight. I'm like, that's, you gotta make hay when the sun's shining. I mean, it's time to do it. So, that's,
At the door, here's you on the way out.
Like I said, it's tricky things.
that's kind of just how it works. Turn down an opportunity. When we first were going, we had Skylar and Brian went out to eat with them once. Skylar said something that's always stuck with me. She said, if you go to a workshop and nobody shows up, how do you feel embarrassed about that? So, or if one person shows up and you invited 10, how does the 10 people? Yeah, exactly. Nobody's got to know. So we would go home and feel embarrassed or feel, like failures or whatever. But that is all just that's just a bunch of lies in your mind. And you just got to don't focus on that because it'll bring you down.
And for heaven's sakes, you don't have to post on Facebook that nobody came.
Yeah.
For gosh sakes, you can say, it was a great class.
See, I always say, that was just the person that God needed to be there. And people were coming and all of a sudden it's only one. I'm like, apparently I needed to spend time with that one
Or
person.
yourself with
Or
that one.
nobody shows, well, good, I needed to be with my family tonight.
Or you
And
make
that's- or you make care calls, there are nice.
We've got a gal under Sarah that lives over in the Quad Cities, and she does a class every week at a restaurant, and if nobody comes, she turns on Periscope and she does the whole class live for the benefit of any followers. So she amazes me. So way to go, Katie, you're on.
I don't know if that answered your question.
I didn't think you could probably answer it. If you got two yellows with a hint of green.
Are you two the same personality? What are you?
Yellow.
Okay.
Yellow,
so you're-
green.
With green.
Yeah.
Green is our second.
Then maybe what I would suggest is try to find somebody cross-line or try to go, more than likely, what I have found is that a lot of my sponsors or even people that I'm trying to help, a lot of people in my downline, I track the same color. So like we're all yellows, and so like go cross-line because then you can get different avenues from different people and then they can kind of give you ideas and that kind of thing on what to think about. Like I said, Zane's really good about giving me ideas on places or events or things that I could do, but it's just it's just that follow through. That's the hard part. But like your cross line can give you some of.
And we probably weren't always so close to the same color. We've been together long enough.
Yeah.
Probably all set, right?
You start looking alike and acting alike.
Back my pants. Any other questions? Yeah, closing thoughts. Is there one? I'm
I
sorry.
have one more. You guys all sound like you're pretty positive with your wives, and my husband does a lot around the house to help me out and everything. But then there are days when no one shows for class, or he's got to get the living room ready for class, and they get really frustrated. Like, you're doing all these classes, and then no one enrolls. It doesn't happen very often, but he gets frustrated. What's it from a guy's perspective? What's a good thing to say to him?
Nothing. Honestly, I just.
Go make more money.
Yeah, I honestly, I had nights where I probably reacted very similar. And usually, she called me out on it and I apologize later or whatever, but I think I think there's something that you just kind of have to roll with as you're going through that process of growing. I think eventually there's a turning point where I saw it, you know, maybe your husband will see it too and see that those nights that appear unsuccessful, you know, you mentally prepared. You had everything laid out. So
The living room is clean.
yeah, the house is partially clean, and we were very similar as far as you said, shove it all into the bedrooms or whatever. Ours is like, quick, down to the basement, 6 times, right? But yeah, I think that there just has to be, like you say, kind of go through those growing pains. I wish there was maybe I think, I guess striking back immediately, I probably only would have raised the tension in our home. You know.
Infuse some joy.
There you go.
I think one thing that you did very early on, I mean, before there never was any friction, but just early on to like set a precedent, you kind of did a very intentional sit down, holding the hands, sort of like eye contact. This whole thing is really important to me. It's just really important. And you know, if I remember right, maybe not all in the same conversation, but you know, made it like, okay, you do this for fun, you do this for a hobby, you do this for your living, and this is just, you know, one thing that's really important to me, and just made it clear that like this isn't just like a business thing I'm trying, or this isn't, you know, just like some hobby. That this is a really important thing that I'm doing, and so I guess I felt like that was worthy of respect. That it wasn't, you know, that was sort of laid out before, or before any tension arose, so that there just was a good understanding from both parties that like whether this sinks or swims. I think that was one of the things really from like a health perspective, that like our family's health is on the line here, and you know, I just feel like that this is very important. So
yeah, I think Skylar did the same thing. We had a good talk. You know, the first night she said she's going to do it as a business, and you know, kind of set the stage like this is very important to her. And, you know, she's obviously very important to me. She needs my support, you know, whatever that is. You know, if I want to help her actively and do classic with her, and if I don't, you know, that's okay. But I can't, you know, prevent her from doing what she's going to do. Or, you know, I can't be a negative influence in any way. You know, I need to be supportive because that's what she needs from me. And, you know, just having her tell me that, you know, set the stage really well, I think.
And sometimes a bad day is just a bad day. I mean,
Right.
yeah, we all have bad days. And I think if it's time after time after time, then there's a root cause or something that's, you know, got to be dealt with.
And I think, was it Gary Cox the other night that talked about how you talk to the people who may not be really in support yet? And so kind of like with your downline, you wouldn't think of going to somebody that you're trying to support and help in the business and go, oh, I'm just having a really bad time. You know, you go up and you talk to people that have been there. So I would be more likely to go to Heather and complain or, you know, share frustrations than to go to somebody in my downline. Does that make sense? And so, you know, he talked about rather than going to your husband when things are, you know, I don't know if this happens to you, but if there's a negative experience or you feel frustrated, take that to somebody who understands that. Not that you shouldn't talk to him about that, but show him the positive until he gets the whole picture. And you know what I mean? So
because the cumulative effect, if you just went to him every time there was a no-show or every time a downline complained, he's logging those files in his brain, and pretty soon he's going to say, listen, you are miserable. All you do is complain about this. Why are you doing this? Because you've only given him those. So, yeah, I love that idea. Go show him
the positive.
when you get a paycheck, Candy, it's date night, you know, and tell him tonight's product R&D. We gotta try out Sensation and shoe trend.
It's actually a really nice girl on the Father's Day.
Okay.
For 2 years.
Good. Good.
Just keep the money and it's because of the oils. It's because they want to positive reinforcement.
Right on.
Sarah's got a challenge for us.
So, first of all, thank you, Mark. So can I just say that it is way more fun for everybody when you guys are here. So tonight was sort of spouse night, but next month, come again, please, because it's just more together. We love it, and you guys have to come back, okay? First Tuesday of every month, just mark it. Okay, we always want to leave you with a tangible challenge, something that you can apply to your lives and to your businesses that will actually make a difference. And we hope that our stories have in some way enlightened you and inspired you. But we actually have some fantastic homework. I'm gonna take that side of the room.
You're like, oh, homework.
Yeah.
What?
So, I think that date nights are magical because they are intentional. It's something that you put on the calendar and you can create a special time for just you and your spouse. So we're going to challenge you. This should be a really fun one, in fact. We're going to dare you to go on a date. And this is a date with a purpose, okay? So your purpose is to talk about your goals. Would you hold it down, Beth? Talk about your goals, talk about your dreams, and I would expect in a healthy relationship, you both have them. And they don't have to be the same thing, but you need to know what each other's are so that you can be supportive of one another. I don't know, how many years ago did you start running marathons? Like 8? 13? Okay, time flies. 13 years ago, he started running marathons, and for that first one, I mean, it was, the training time was just insane. You talk about an investment in being out of the house. If any of you run a marathon or a half, okay, just know that you gotta run a lot of hours just to be able to run that doggone thing. So I felt like a single parent for a long time because every Saturday morning, he was checked out and he was off on a date with his running friends. And it was kind of frustrating. It was the whole role reversal to what I did to him 3 years ago. But I supported him because it's kind of cool to say that you've run a marathon. It's really cool to say that you've spectated at one. With 3 kids. I love to brag about how hard it is. But so after he got a taste of that, then the goal expanded and it changed. And we talked, and pretty soon, lo and behold, some of you know his story, but he said, you know what, I'm gonna set a goal of running a marathon in every state. And I went, okay, that's a lot of Saturday mornings gone from home. And I don't care about the 4 a.m. workouts because, quite frankly, that does not affect me. But Saturday morning is usually some pretty quality family time, and so that was a struggle. But it was cool because once you started running them on a fairly regular basis, you don't really have to train anymore because you can roll out of bed any day of the week and go run a marathon. So there's a whole lot of lessons in that. But now, 13 years later, we've checked off that goal. And what a massive celebration last March when we went to Hawaii and he ran his 50th state. So there is something inside every single one of you that is dying to come out. Some goal, some dream, and I would venture a guess that there may be dreams that you haven't even told your spouse about because they're so scary. So I'm challenging you to go on a date and talk about these things and talk about why it's important to support one another, what challenges might manifest, because believe me, for every goal you set, if it's high enough, it's going to come with its own set of challenges. I assure you. His shoe budget used to stress me out because no guy should ever spend more money on shoes than his wife, right? But going to buy 2 pairs of running shoes at a time. I'm like, what? So just work through the challenges. So those are the main conversation starters. But then we want you to really dig deep. So those last 4 questions, how much money do you need to earn to make a difference in your budget? Find out if you and your spouse agree. Is it the same amount? Is it different? How many hours are you as a family willing to invest, whether it's the wife or the husband or the kids or everybody? How much time can you put on the line to invest in this business? And for how long of a period of time are you willing to commit? So this is really important because the way that we built, I'm kind of an all or nothing person. And so I went in head first and said, if we're gonna do it, let's do it. Kind of like, you know, taking a sour pill or something, let's just do it and get it over with. So we dove in and we worked a lot for what felt like a relatively short period of time. And you can do that, or you can be steady and consistent, and that will work too. Either way, it doesn't matter. But the only people that don't succeed in this business are the people that quit. And I can give you example after example of people that did it fast and that did it slow, but kept it going, and they've all succeeded. So you just have to decide as a couple, are we willing to face the challenges? Will we get through them? You know, what's your safety word when you're ready to give it up? What's your spouse gonna do to say, no, honey, it's gonna be okay. Let's talk about this. And then the fourth question, why do you want to do this? What is your biggest motivation? And what drives this decision? And most importantly, that last part, how can I pray for you in all of this? So I would venture a guess that if you and your spouse have had a great relationship and have had healthy communication all along, this is not going to be a major struggle. It's one more new adventure. If it's been hard to communicate in the past, this could become a stressor. So whatever you've had is probably going to be magnified. Would you guys agree? But there's ways to navigate it. Be intentional about time together. Don't let, like Sonia said, if this business becomes the jealous lover, you know, or the whatever, the dynamic that drives a wedge between you, work on that. Figure it out. And then lastly, you all get bonus points if you plan a meeting with your upline leader, okay? Whoever your sponsor is, or whoever you go to for advice, and talk about these questions. Because do you know what happens when you communicate those to someone else and you've got an accountability partner? It gets real, really fast, okay? And it's scary as heck when I call Sonia and I say, okay, I want you to pray for this. Okay, we got a big hairy goal on the line, and I am too scared to tell anybody else. Will you join me? And then she's watching me going, are you gonna do it? And she will bug me in a loving, wonderful way to say, you told me this is what you wanted. Was it true? So I invite you to develop that relationship, either upline, crossline, whatever, but have somebody that's gonna hold you to it if you really want it, okay? So your first challenge, and I dare you to do this tonight before you go to bed, is to write the date of your date on the top of the paper. Plan it, do it, and next month we're gonna have date reports. And it will be, you know what would be really cool? Post a picture of you and your spouse on your date. I think you should do this.
Yeah.
Post it on social media with some hashtag date night challenge. Date night challenge. And you guys, yeah, you can do it. If you are single, is there benefit in goal planning?
Absolutely.
You can have a date with yourself. You can pick a friend. I still think an accountability as partner is critically important. Okay? So do it, but the point is, declare it, pray over that, and then just, I dare you to watch what happens. So, these two are totally going right there. I can tell. So, raise your hand if you're in. Who's going on a date? I think that's 100%. Woo! All right. Fantastic. Did you raise your hand on Zoom? Yes? Okay, good deal. Awesome.